I don't think he's gonna ship it to you. I think he's just gonna give it to you.
I know, that's what I mean. He needs to get his ass over here.
How's everybody doing today?
Man, what's doing?
You know,
That was confusing.
sleepy.
Sleepy. You're always sleepy.
Yeah. That's what having 3 kidneys does.
Makes you extra tired. All right, let's do this.
No.
All right, never mind. Have a good night, everybody. That was garbage time. It's a 3-minute.
Thanks for joining.
It was a blast.
Loud. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Garbage Time. It is your boy James, back fully healed from COVID, in the full run of everything. I'm joined by Chris, who I'm not sure what you just did. I think it was finger guns.
Yes.
Everybody,
Hello, everybody.
And Drew,
like
how we doing
guns.
today, guys?
Oh, we be doing, James. We be doing.
Oh, you can be damn sure we be doing. Tell you that much.
Gotcha.
So we're continuing, before we get into some news, we're continuing the off-season preview, pre-draft, with the Texans, the Bengals, the Chargers, and the Broncos, in that order, oddly enough. And boy, are we going to be talking about the Texans. But let's start off with the news, transition like a good podcast. Patriots reserve tackle Justin Herron was honored by the Tempe PD after helping to stop a sexual assault in a park. Good
What a
guy.
guy.
Absolutely. That's what you like to hear. That's what you like to hear. That's the news we need.
That's the news we want to
16
hear.
lawsuits in 2 weeks.
Yeah, just wait until the end of the news. That's what you don't want to hear.
Oh, yeah, we forgot to ask if you wanted the good news first or the bad news. You got the good news.
Yeah, it would have been 17. Sorry, Deshaun. You got caught. I feel like I should probably edit that one out. T.Y. Hilton resigns with the Colts on a 1-year, $10 million deal. I mean, I didn't really expect him to go anywhere else.
I'm kind of surprised.
Really?
Yeah, I thought he would try out somewhere else. I feel like the system in Indy is kind of changing a bit, and they got a bunch of dudes on that roster that are looking to, provide more of an impact. So I'm surprised he didn't go and try and fit in somewhere else where he could have been probably at least solid number 2. But it is what it is. I'm sure he'll be fine if he plays.
Yeah, but
I kind of agree with that.
Fine. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
sorry.
Carson Wentz is a question mark, which is a big reason that I'm kind of surprised that he came back. I figured he'd want to go somewhere with an established quarterback situation where he could work and do his thing. But I guess the Colts are contenders, so no harm in sticking around.
No, especially on both sides. I mean, it's only a $10 million deal, but
yeah, I mean,
Colts have that
got plenty of room. So
yeah. Speaking of the AFC, Tevin Coleman and Vinny Curry both signed with the Jets yesterday. Both on 1-year deals. Tevin Coleman's was worth 2.5 and Vinny Curry's 1.3. Vinny Curry was a name I know that was connected to the Jets for a while. They didn't want to trade for him though. They didn't like the capital they were asking for. So getting him on a 1-year deal is awesome. Pairing up with new Carl Lawson on that line is gonna be sick. And Tevin Coleman, I think, is just a good piece. Obviously the injuries aren't great, but for $2.5 million.
Yeah.
Sure.
If he stays healthy, and the Jets, I mean, they have to now look to the offensive line, I think, because now you're focused on keeping an injury-prone running back healthy as well as your quarterback, whoever that may be next season. Probably Sam Darnold, but we'll see.
Probably.
I think that's where they have to go now. But no, I think that Tevin Coleman, I've always liked Tevin Coleman back to the Atlanta days when he was stuffed down behind Devonta Freeman. But yeah, I think he has massive potential to make an impact. It just depends on the team around him. I think a lot like Le'Veon Bell, who had a lot of potential to play well in New York, but the team around him just did not provide that opportunity. So we'll see how it goes.
Chris, does this make you nervous as a Patriots fan that the Jets are kind of making these veteran moves?
No, not at all.
All right, yeah, fair.
Realistically speaking, the Jets always give the Patriots a run for their money, but I think the Patriots always find the way to get that edge. And to be honest, I'm happy that the Jets are finally making moves because I know how frustrating it is for Jets fans to just live time and time again and see the Jets do absolutely nothing. So, plus bringing the AFC more competition to the AFC East is always a good thing. So,
yeah, you always
no complaints.
Iron sharpens iron mindset, right?
No, only diamond sharpens iron.
Iron's not that strong, though.
Anyway,
only diamond sharpens diamond.
Yes.
Okay.
This is as hard as it gets.
What the fuck?
Well, you haven't seen me.
Oh God. Okay.
Before I didn't put this in the news, but before we get to the Deshaun Watson part of the news, hey Drew, what the fuck are the Packers doing? Re-signing Mercedes Lewis, re-signing freaking Kevin King.
Mercedes Lewis, I like. Mercedes Lewis has been very reliable in his time in Green Bay. He's been a good piece in that offense, and he's awesome blocking. He does whatever you ask him to do. So Mercedes Lewis, I'm perfectly happy with. He's a versatile tight end, and it really solidifies that part of the team. So that's cool.
But
I mean, look, Kevin King is not quite as overall bad as he looked the last couple games of last year. And throughout last year, he was actually pretty solid in 2019. He made a formidable duo with Jair 2 years ago. So I think that there's hope. I think that a 1-year contract really is enough to show, who are you? Are you the 2019 Kevin King or are you last year Kevin King? And then move on from there. Make a decision based off of that. It is what it is. We need a corner. So if we're not going to go get one somewhere else, I'd at least like to have one on the roster. So I'm not happy about it, but it's not the worst thing that's happened. But the worst thing that's happened is their continued lack of getting weapons for that.
I think you bring into a good point where we're kind of focusing on King in his last couple playoff appearances.
Yeah,
where
he's fucked up terrible. In really bad situations is what it comes down to.
Exactly.
And very noticeably.
And that's what he's standing for right now. So everyone's saying that this is a horrible signing. And like you said, they need a corner. Yeah. At least have that position filled. And he did have a good season a couple years ago. So
yeah, and I think if he's got all the tools, they really just need to work with him on his situational awareness and what he needs to be doing. Like that big play that he fucked up with Scotty Miller in the NFC Championship game where he got behind him. He was playing up on a 4th and 9,000 yards and looking at Tom Brady. Like, no, get back. And that's it. It's just a situational thing. So if he can work on those things and be where he needs to be, he has the tools to be decent. I'm not going to talk about the Mike Evans. And jump timing and situational awareness.
Jump timing, situational awareness. I mean, there's some injury concerns there too, but I don't think that's as.
No, they've been mild, but it doesn't help for a young guy to not see the field. But
I also didn't realize how young he is. He's only like 26.
Yeah, he got drafted, I think, 3 or 4 years ago.
I did not realize that. I thought it was like, I don't know why I thought he was like a vet. But anyway, I guess technically at this point he is a vet. But
yeah, and that's why this is his first veteran kind of area where he's getting into now. And I think a 1-year contract to see what that era of Kevin King is going to bring is perfect. So.
All right, so let's talk about the big news now. 16. 1-6.
Has twice as many allegations as Cam Newton threw touchdowns last year.
That's
I like
very
how that
true.
number.
It's so sad, but it's true.
16 allegations, 16 separate lawsuits against Deshaun Watson for
Mhm.
sexual misconduct. Most of which revolving around massages, but not even like those kind of
Masseuse.
massages. Like he just wasn't there one where he, popped on a person's face?
So from over 5 of them that I heard is that he DM'd these massage masseuses. I don't know the
Yeah.
proper word.
Right.
And basically had them come to his house, apartment, wherever they met somewhere. And while they were getting ready or something, he would just plop his dick right on them. Like, hey, what's up? How you doing?
What a weird move. Like that right there screams like sexual predator. It's like I've never once been in an experience and been like, yeah, I'm gonna plop my dick on your shoulder.
Like,
Yeah.
what would ever prompt that? There's nothing in a normal person.
What if it was like a little parrot though? And he's like, I want you to be a pirate.
Okay, no. But
only if he actually dressed it up.
Still not.
you know
There's some
the
humor.
worst part about all these allegations is, well, I mean, it's bad when you go from 4 to 7 to 10 to all of a sudden 16. You know, you fucked up. What's worse
like a little
is
ticker
that
every day. It's like, how many today?
exactly.
It was
so it's bad.
Yeah.
What's the worst part for me is the fact that his lawyer is coming out and they have strong evidence that one of them out of 16 is a hoax, that nothing happened. So the lawyer's biggest argument is, well, we can't trust the integrity of all the other ones based on this one.
No.
Like, dude, that's the worst possible thing you could say right now.
I mean, that's literally just a stall tactic.
That's all it is.
That's hey, look, we're going to try and prove that one isn't true so that you doubt the other ones while we try and figure out some way to combat that. And there's no way. You're not going to – he's screwed. And deservedly
if it was
so
2,
if these things are true. So,
and one of them was proven wrong, now you have a half chance that it's wrong.
Right. I mean,
you could get by it.
Wrong, it throws some doubt, but the 15 that would – like, this is either the biggest coordinated slander of a professional athlete ever, or Deshaun Watson is a messed up sexual predator. And
exactly,
either one of those is a good scenario, and it looks like it's probably the latter because the former is a little too ridiculous. So,
and also, of the matter, how can you let someone still be in the NFL after 16 sexual assault lawsuits?
No, I mean, when you texted us the other day and said, "Oh, the Texans released him," it wasn't true. But how is that not true? How is he still on an NFL team? Like, it's ridiculous. And I personally think Antonio Brown shouldn't be playing as well. I don't think that players with any type of allegations should be playing until they're resolved. That's serious stuff, man. So I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. The league needs to figure its shit out in that area for sure.
It's gonna be big. That's all we'll say. I mean,
one way or the other, this is gonna end in a massive explosion.
Yeah, and if they're looking for a payout, which at 16, there's no way. Watson still doesn't have enough money to pay out 16 people.
I mean, dude, it's just disgusting.
It's gross.
Sacrifice your entire career to be a fucking scumbag. Yeah. All jokes aside, you're a scumfuck.
Right. And he's a young, decent-looking dude. Like, you don't have to do that. Just do it right. Like, actually have a relationship with these women and I don't know. It blows my mind what money does to some people.
Never trust anyone who goes to Clemson. That's just a new thing.
Apparently.
Or Lawrence, we're watching you, son of a bitch.
I was just about to say.
But let's transition that and talk about the Texans, right? Because what the fuck? They're in hell for the draft. Their franchise quarterback didn't want to play there and now is a sexual yeah, scum fuck. So what do? Because they don't pick, and I didn't realize this. I knew they didn't pick in the first. They don't pick until the third round.
Jeez, this is yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of gaps to fill, and so far, what they've done in free agency is just piece together some vets.
Yeah, I don't hate what they've done right now. I guess that in the situation they're in, there's nothing that they can do right now. They need to, first of all, release Deshaun Watson and get rid of that, because if you're trying to rebuild an organization and the stigma around said organization that Bill O'Brien just left and fucked up completely, you have to purge it, like what the Jaguars did a couple of years ago. They got rid of anything that was toxic. They just kind of are trying to purge that locker room and start building a new team, which they've begun the process. And what the Lions did when they got rid of Matt Patricia and pretty much everything that was connected with that, got rid of Stafford, just starting a new era. And that's exactly what the Texans need to do. They need to get rid of anything that was associated with that old guard and now Deshaun Watson as well, and just start focusing on building a new team. There aren't a lot of assets to do that with right now, so you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to piece together something that resembles an NFL team for now.
True. But Cassiera has some work ahead of him, man.
Oh, yeah. Arguably more than any other GM right now. I mean, the Saints have a long road ahead. Jaguars have a long road ahead. The Lions have a long road ahead. But the Texans' road is not only long, it's winding, it's full of jagged rocks and falling trees, and it's not going to be easy. They're going to have to do some serious overhauling and shedding of assets and acquiring draft picks. And I don't know, man.
This is the thing with the Texans is before the Watson allegations, they were already in that hallway that both walls are slowly closing in.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just started getting faster with Watson. And now it's just getting faster.
They're about shit.
Yeah.
So,
right now, his hands are wedging the wall.
They're going to have to find a way to start pulling those walls back apart. And it's going to take years.
Exactly. And they fucked themselves because they can't even pick until the third round.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why it's going to take years. If you had even a first round pick, it expedites the process a little bit. Now you're bringing in top tier talent if you can draft, which Houston, but they have put themselves in a position where this rebuild is going to last I would say at the least 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, honestly speaking, though, right now the Texans are in a better position to cancel the franchise and start up in 2 years and just do a whole new draft. They're fucked for at least 2 years.
Throw that franchise in the trash. It's only it's 15, 16, 17 years old. Just toss it in the bin. Start a new one. Do an expansion draft.
Just bring it back up in 3 years when all this blows over.
Just bring it back as the Houston Oilers again.
That might be the best bet right now.
Dude, just revive the Oilers. Can the Texans revive the Oilers expansion draft? Everybody wins, honestly.
It's the only way to do it.
God. So
that's the Texans offseason plan. Can the team?
So what they've done so far in the offseason, right? They signed big names, Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay. So they have a very interesting backfield that I'm not going to touch. J.J. Watt obviously departed. Malik Collins comes in from the Raiders. Marcus Cannon comes over from the Patriots. Tyrod Taylor is probably your starting quarterback.
Which is actually kind of nice for Tyrod Taylor's finally in a situation where they're not picking a number one guy over him in the Justin Herbert situation in LA. He's not giving way to someone else. He hasn't been in this situation since Buffalo, really. And he kind of fucked that up, but Buffalo also kind of fucked that up. That was just bad. But, if, again, the Texans can put something resembling an NFL team together and have a weapon or two, they've kind of bolstered their offensive line. Marcus Cannon's not bad.
Is the most solid piece out of that, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. Out of what they have done so far, Marcus Cannon is definitely the biggest addition. So, yeah, if Tyrod...
When did they get Tyrod?
When? This offseason? I don't know.
Isn't he still recovering from his incident last year?
From getting stabbed in the lung? Yeah.
Yes. A deflated lung.
Oh, God.
Well, either way, I agree with Drew. It's good for Tyrod. Well, you've seen that he can be a decent backup. So now you're kind of pushing him into starter. But it's not like he is going to a team that has absolutely nothing. He still has two running backs that have shown that they can produce in the right situations. And maybe they can piece something together. I doubt it, but
like I said, something resembling an NFL team. So they just gotta stall and build next year.
So 0-16?
No.
Nah. That's actually a good point, Chris. There's my next question. Where do we see their record? Over under 4-12. So over under 4 wins.
1-15.
Wait, 4.5 or 3.5?
I guess we'll go 4.5. Give them
the benefit. I think they sit somewhere 3-14, or however many games they're going to play. 3-13, 4-12, somewhere in there.
I am looking who they are playing this year.
I think they beat the Jaguars once at least. So.
You got to hope they at least beat the Jags, but that might be changing too.
Yeah, we'll see what the Jags look like.
Ravens, Bengals, Packers, Vikings, Pats, Colts, Jaguars, Titans, Steelers, Chiefs, Lions, Browns, Bears, Colts, Jaguars, Titans.
There's a lot of question mark teams in there. There's a lot of teams that we don't know what they're going to look like next year. The Steelers, the Lions.
Yeah, can I tell you what game I'm not excited for? Texans, Lions.
Oh, God. Texans, Bengals.
Texans, Bengals. Well, we'll get to them. Actually, that's our next team, so we might as well talk.
Yeah.
But
beautiful transition.
Quick summary. Burn it down.
Yeah. Light it on fire, walk away.
Speaking of a team that has burned it down way too many times, the Bengals. The Bengals have had a very interesting offseason. They got Trey Hendrickson, right? Am I wrong about that? I don't know. Anyway.
I think that's right.
Yeah. Because they had Carl Lawson depart. They got Trey, which I think is a step backwards, but that's a whole nother fucking discussion. He's got a lot of 0.5 sacks there, all right? His sack number's inflated.
Yeah, he's a run stop kind of guy for the most part.
Fair. The Bengals are sitting with the 5th overall pick in the draft this year.
Not bad.
Not bad. But what do they do with that? Because in my mind, what I see is just protect Joe. They should have done that. In my mindset, I've posted this already. They've failed at that already in free agency, letting all these other people and names still float around and not going and getting them to protect Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. They need offensive line help. They need Joe Burrow's health should be their number one priority for the length of his career, which I would imagine like to see happen all in Cincinnati. So to do that, you got to keep him healthy. So that is priority A, B, C, and D. Right.
Like that's your franchise dude.
Yep.
Make sure his career lasts more than 2 seasons.
Exactly. And it's already not looking great. So you need to make some moves.
It's really not. And it's really scary how little they care about his knees.
Apparently, yeah.
So who do you think they'd take for the fifth?
It's really hard to say. I mean, It's gonna be a lineman. I think it would be Sewell.
if he's there.
But that's the thing, if he's there. So maybe Slate
CBS has him going in the 9th to the Broncos.
Sewell.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
I wouldn't be
That's-
surprised if he
that's
goes
a
top
clickbait.
3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Is when you look at it, I'm not confident he really falls out of 3 because he is a top 3 player in this draft.
I think he very well could go to the Jets. I think the Jets would be very wise to take Penei Sewell.
I think they would be too. Flip Mackay, I always fuck up his name. Becton over to the other side and just have the two of them pair.
Dude, monster tackles.
Right.
They
But
have
like
Zach Wilson going to the Jets.
yeah, dude, that's the hard thing is you don't know what the fucking Jets are gonna do. They're the
Right.
biggest question mark. It's like because you look at it like Jacksonville's gonna go quarterback. They're gonna go Trevor.
Yeah, no
I
question.
have no doubt in my mind that they're going Trevor Lawrence. But the Jets in Miami, it's like, well, Miami, you'd think they would want a wide receiver and they'd go Jamar Chase. But Penei, I'm gonna fucking butcher his name. I'm just gonna say Sewell is the most athletic lineman in this draft class. He is
Yeah.
a fucking beast.
And he
So-
definitely serves a purpose to, anchor an offensive line in a couple years. I mean, look at what Elton Jenkins did with the Packers. He's now the piece of their offensive line with David Bakhtiari. So if you can pair up two guys like that, you now have a rock solid line. So I think either one of those teams, the Jets or the Dolphins, would be very smart to take Sewell with those picks. So I don't know if he's going to be there forever.
I don't know. It's that 5 spot is tough.
Yeah.
I could very easily. I mean, they could trade it off and try to like move back and get a piece
If
from
he's
someone
not
else.
there.
If he's not there,
So, James, who
Yeah.
do you see as the next offensive lineman that they would take if Sewell's not there?
and he's not there, it would probably be Slater.
Okay. Where's that projection? Where's he?
I don't know. He's kind of floated around.
I got Darisaw at 13 for Chargers.
We're not
Then
on
we
the chart.
got Slater
Yeah,
at 17
He's talking about.
Yeah,
offensive
see-
lineman.
Oh, all right. So
on the mock draft. Sorry.
yeah, I mean, I personally like Slater as the second best in this. But I've seen him all over the board on mock drafts. If they didn't get him, if they didn't get Sewell and Slater was there, I think they would trade back and try to like get him at like a 10 spot maybe.
Mhm.
But if he's not there, they might go with someone like Kyle Pitts and give Joe a weapon, but that doesn't help them at all. I would actually hate that for the Bengals.
Yeah, that's not what they need right now.
No, they don't. They have weapons. I mean, granted, tight ends are blank, but they have the wide receivers. That's not an issue. They
Yeah.
do not have the fucking line.
Yeah,
It hurts my brain. I really the Bengals are going to be the funnest. The Bengals and the Jets are going to be the funnest 2 points to watch draft night because we really don't know. Usually, you can look at the top 5 and be like, all right, like there's where it's going to fall. I genuinely do not know what the Jets and Bengals are going to do. I know what they should do. I don't know what they're going to do.
and then don't forget you said the Dolphins that they could throw a wrench into things too, depending on what's on the board when they step up.
Side note about all of this, and I think he's going to fuck it up. Zach Taylor is a moron. They should have fired him last season.
I agree.
I don't know why they didn't fire him. Now they're stuck with an awful coach who's probably going to fuck up this draft. And granted, it's not just the coach. It is the GM and the coach. But they are stuck with a coach that is going to ruin this team and set them back another 2 years.
That's
But
the
what do you-
Bengals' favorite thing to do.
It is. Tremaine extremely here.
Is Zach
Borderline.
Taylor the next Marvin Lewis? Is he just going to be there for the next 20 years?
I doubt it. If you look at any Bengals page, dude, they hate Zach Taylor.
It's okay.
Once you lose the fan base, man, it's just a matter of time.
We'll see.
Are you confident in him staying?
No, but I'm not confident in the Bengals doing anything reasonable.
No.
That's
I mean,
very
you
fair. The Bengals are like almost like the stock market, where they start at the borderline and then they get their first round pick and it just ticks up and then it's like, nope, all the way down.
Yeah, they have.
And then they have a new base.
They've definitely squandered plenty of first round talent.
My last point about this, because I want to just keep talking about how the Bengals confuse me, is if they can protect Joe, I could very easily see them flipping their season around and like contending in the AFC North. Not stepping up to that next level already, but I could see them finishing with over like 7 wins.
Yeah, I think that the AFC is a little too good for them to have a legitimate playoff chance this year, even with a healthy Joe Burrow.
Yep.
But you're right. I think they could take the first step into becoming a contending team. And that, again, all of them, I really feel like is the last time I say this, is all comes down to protecting Joe Burrow.
Just flip it all back around.
You see them beating the Ravens, Steelers, or Browns at some point?
I could see them. I mean, they kept it close with the Browns in 2 games. So I think that's going to be 2 very fun matchups either way. I could very easily see them beating the Steelers. I could see them honestly sweeping out the Steelers.
Potential. Again, the Steelers are a big question mark for me. I don't know what that team's going to look like.
No one does.
Yeah, I just don't see a sweep by the Bengals, but that's my thing for the Bengals is obviously we saw last year how many games they did end up keeping close. This season, if they can continue to keep those games close, but have better fourth quarter stats, if Joe Burrow can open up in that fourth and really just take a slight lead, they might be able to hold it down. And that's really, I think, their biggest chance of winning or being successful.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think a part has to go into the play calling too. Because, I mean, how many games did we look at with the Bengals where Joe Burrow was throwing over like 40 attempts a game? So at some point, like, your stamina is going to go down.
Well, that's also a side product of a lot of times of not having Joe Mixon. He was out for quite a while last season.
Mm-hmm. Also true. Joe Mixon's kind of a question mark. See where he bounces back, but we don't know. Or if he bounces back.
Yeah.
The old Madden, he's past age 26 now. I don't think he is, actually. Nailed it. Let's talk about the Chargers. Transition. Another team who found their quarterback last year. Justin Herbert. And actually a team who fired the coach. I have to look up who their new coach is because I don't remember off the top of my head and I didn't write it down because I'm a genius. And realized they needed to protect their quarterback, their franchise quarterback, and went out and got Corey Linsley. Sorry, Drew. But I mean, you can't. He was the best center, and he was available. Like, he's on the board, and they realized, all right, guess what? We have to protect our guy, so let's go get him. And they did.
They did. He's wonderful. I think that Los Angeles is going to enjoy him very much. So I think Justin Herbert's going to love having him, snapping the ball to him, and protecting him up front. It kills me that he's not a Packer anymore because he was absolutely one of my favorite players on that team. But like I said, huge pickup for the Chargers. And like you said, a complete opposite approach to what the Bengals are taking and actually protecting their guy. So it was a great move by Corey. I love you.
I love you. And I miss you. Also, it was Brandon Staley was a name I was forgetting. He was the DC for the Rams last year. Once again, awesome.
Yes.
I mean, get the defensive focus in there. But I still want to talk about offense a little bit more because I have kind of like a path I see them going with the draft that is very possible. But one, can Herbert continue his production from last year? Point 1.
Yes.
Yeah,
like what?
With the right weapons, yeah, I think so. Like we've talked about, they invested in the offensive line, so I think that already helps.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can pick up a piece or two or figure out what the hell is going on with Austin Eckler, then I think that they absolutely can let or Justin Herbert repeat what he did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm glad you actually said that too, is where do we value Austin Eckler? Where do we put him? Because he came back, he did good, but losing him didn't like really seem to stagger them as much as you would think. Maybe in the run game, yes, but overall passing didn't seem to stumble.
No, they had, a trio of running backs to work with in his absence. So they all kind of stepped in and filled that backup role pretty well and worked as a committee. But yeah, the attack was very much focused on passing overall, and Herbert was pinpoint all year long. So
yeah, son of a bitch. Thanks for making me bury that take.
I mean, I didn't think he was going to be anything like he was either, but man, he proved me, you, and a lot of other people wrong. So,
Chris, what do you think on that? Do you think he continues the production?
Yeah, I think Austin Eckler is one of those people where without him, you can still exactly what they did. You can still figure around it and make plays, but he's just an addition to the team. When you have him healthy and you give him that production, he can obviously help. So,
yeah, but I think with somebody like Austin Eckler, you got to realize like running backs have just become extremely disposable. Like if you have a good running back, it's great, but this like constant production of running back, it's like, all right, cool. Like we're not going to give you a new contract, Le'Veon Bell. There's more guys coming right down the pipeline.
Yeah, no, and running back too.
I think what we're also seeing is running backs having multiple consistent years of production is hard to come by. You see there's only a select few that I can count on one hand. CMC, Derrick Henry. You can add a couple more, but you can't expect every single running back to have the same consistent season or stats every single season.
No.
And that's kind of where we're at right now. So, again, I agree that having him on the team is only an addition to the Chargers. I think that they can make it work without him, but I think his value is still high.
Point I forgot to talk about. They added Jared Cook, which is good, not great. In my mind, he's a placeholder.
Yeah, he's good.
He's fine.
He is. It's fun. And I think Herbert will be a better quarterback for him than Drew Brees. Cook definitely works more downfield than the short routes.
Yep.
So it'd be nice to have someone who can actually get it to him 20 yards downfield. The hands are on and off, but he's overall a pretty reliable dude. So I'm sure Herbert will enjoy having him on the team.
Agreed.
Chris, I hate you. What I think they should be doing with the draft is I think that first pick, if he falls there, once again, this is going to be the story of a lot of these teams in the lower part is if they fall there. Kyle Pitts. I'm going to keep fucking hammering home Kyle Pitts. Give him a lengthy receiving tight end like Kyle Pitts and match him up with, oh my God, why can't I think of his name right now?
Jared Cook.
No, what the fuck? Dude, what is going on? Chargers receiver.
Keenan Allen?
Keenan Allen. Dude, I couldn't fucking think of Keenan Allen's name. Jesus. All right, well, I'm going to have to edit around that big-ass pause. Pair him up with Keenan Allen. I don't see any way he doesn't keep those numbers going, especially, like we said, with a new line. Great. And then I would have already moved on from Austin Eckler. But I think they go after a big name in the second round as a running back and get someone maybe like Etienne, which would be a stretch because he'd have to fall a couple more places, and get Travis Etienne and Kyle Pitts in the first two rounds of an NFL draft. Your team is fucking electric on offense.
The Chargers are electric.
That's what I did there.
But yeah, no, if they can make that happen, that is already a very successful draft for the Chargers. So I if they can find a way, they should absolutely do it. Just give Herbert every chance in the world to be an MVP candidate next year.
I would like to see them go out and get a cornerback too.
Yes.
Just like the lead guy. Because although I think Derwin James is going to bounce back off of 2 injury years, injured out years, I think they need another cornerback to at least help him out so they're not just stretching the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Losing Desmond King didn't help anything in that defense.
That was a big loss.
Yeah.
And Perriman might resign. I don't know. I'm getting distracted now. I'm losing it. Chris, what's your biggest focus for the Chargers this offseason?
I think the Chargers' biggest focus, and this is a must-have, or else they're fucked. And that's going to be better team doctors that did not stab players in their lungs. That's a need. It should have been done already. It may have. I don't know. They're pretty quiet about that. But yeah, you can't have players running around with deflated lungs.
No, it's very, very difficult to run with a deflated lung.
No, it's gonna set you back.
Obviously, a huge need.
Deflated.
I mean, that should be the most basic of focuses for any professional sports organization.
No, just the Chargers. If it happens to another team, it's okay.
Okay, well, let's talk about another team who has not as much of a question mark at quarterback, but in the same division, the Broncos. Man, what do they do with Drew Lock? First and foremost,
not deflate his lung.
All right, not to fit the good call. Maybe on his way out, they can just give him a quick stab. It's like, Drew, wait. He's like, going to keep me? Lung stab.
The best magic quarterback on this team. Not anymore.
We're going with Pippen.
Lung stab.
Lung stab. They yell that too. Like,
now you're not going to be able to breathe for the rest of the season. Good luck with that.
Oh, Drew Lock lost his job and got stabbed in the lungs in one day.
And you can't sue the doctor either. Yeah, it's a lose-lose scenario.
The doctor's the one that stabbed him in the lung.
The clause for team doctors, you can never sue them. They could cut your foot off. You can't sue them.
Oh, yes. So step one,
not
Drew Lock's lungs inflated. Yes. Step two is, I mean, I don't know. They could use, again, a team that could use some offensive line help, but they've got some decent weapons. They have a young, developing receiver core, so they just kind of got to wait that out. Yeah. Having Cortland Sutton back next year, hopefully, will be huge. So I think they're good weapons-wise. Noah Fant can definitely take a step up. They're a decent team. They just need a couple pieces to be competitive, and they need Drew Lock to prove that he is a competent NFL quarterback, which is something we haven't fully seen yet.
Good luck with that.
Right. So if you get him a little bit of line help, the weapons are there. Melvin Gordon's still their running back, right?
Yeah, it's Melvin Gordon, and with Phillip Lindsay's departure, that means Royce Freeman can finally step up and do nothing because they're going to draft another running back.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're working with Melvin Gordon, who showed a couple flashes of his old self last year, but overall mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get a young running back from the draft or whatever, that would be cool. Royce Freeman has done minimal things. So I think running back help, offensive line help, and then you just got to let Drew Lock prove that he's a quarterback.
I'm selling on Drew Lock. I think that's what I'm ready to commit on to. I saw the first year. It was great. Once again, I've said this, you could arguably write off last year with all the Broncos injuries because, Jesus, they were abundant. I don't see it. I don't see him being the long-term guy for the Broncos. I don't see him being a quarterback in the NFL. I see him being a career backup and bouncing around until he inevitably just retires at the age of 30.
Drew
Sucks.
Lock?
Yeah.
It sounds like that backup name. No, like dead serious, Drew Lock is just not a name that pops out like great starter.
Anything that rhymes with cock, where you can make it sound like he has a hammer, makes him a backup automatically.
Well, I did not say that.
Dude,
yes.
the trend's there. Big Dick Nick.
He is a Super Bowl win as the starter. I don't know if you can call that into question.
He's the GOAT backup, whatever.
Dude threw 7 touchdowns in one game.
Fuck him. So back on the Broncos, not Drew Lock's penis. We got the receivers covered. They're good there. Running back room is odd, but it's existing. They signed Kyle Fuller and Ronald Darby, which I love the Kyle Fuller. Ronald Darby, I think, just really fit into Washington well. So I don't know if I'm super sold on him as a long-term solution. Drew, what do you think on that?
No, I agree. I think Kyle Fuller is awesome. That's a great pickup. Ronald Darby bounced around. He's kind of think of him kind of as a nickel kind of guy. More.
True.
So I think he'll provide a little bit of play and versatility and, where they're positioning people. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but nothing crazy.
Now, move I did like was them picking up Von Miller as option.
Yeah.
Because injuries, age aside, the Broncos are better with Von Miller.
Yeah, 100%. And just the locker room presence is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Having Von Miller around the team is a great thing. So I think that they were very wise to keep him around. So good on
Great
them.
there. Now, draft-wise, with that 9th overall pick, what position group do we see them going for? Because there's a lot of gaps. They've done a good job in free agency filling like small pieces with temporary like plugs.
Mm-hmm.
But what the fuck do they do with that 9?
I think the primary concerns, if they don't want to go offense, which I don't think that they necessarily should. I think they have enough pieces in place there that they should look to the defensive side of the ball with number 9. I think they should be looking linebacker, D-line. Those are really the areas that I see that they need to start replenishing the talent. So,
actually, very odd. They have Slater here going at 9 in this mock draft I'm looking at. So offensive tackle could also be a position.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, offensive line wouldn't be the worst place to go for them. That's really the one thing that they need on the offensive side of the ball. So I could see that, but I think the defense needs a little bit more help. I think they should be looking towards the interior front 7 of that defense for.
So with that in mind, I think that would make them more of a candidate to trade their pick back.
Yeah.
There's enough people who could use the positions around them, like quarterbacks, corners are there, wide receivers. Even if Kyle Pitts falls once again, somebody wants to snag him. I could see them moving that pick back and getting someone later and then accruing more, even though they're not great at drafting. But they could sit back in like the 20s and make something work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's a very likely situation for the Broncos in that overall.
All right, well, that was actually all I had. Chris, what are you fucking talking about in the notes right now?
So a person to watch for the Broncos, Martin Bublik, MD, Broncos team doctor. Make sure you keep an eye out for that. Yeah.
I hate you. I despise everything about you.
Oh man. I think the Broncos' biggest focus is going to get that offense moving. If Drew Lock can connect with his pieces, I think the defense, even though they need a couple of things to work on, when you keep Von Miller in there, I really think it helps the team a lot. And I think it gives you that kind of push where the Broncos can still have a steady defense. Maybe not as good as 2013, but they can still definitely make some important moves on that defense, and that defense can stand strong. Not playoff style, but I think the offense is the biggest focus.
Look,
and that is Drew Lock finding his receivers.
The Broncos are not in a position to jump back and try to take this division at all.
Oh, no.
They are in a very top-heavy division.
But I think this is the year that they kind of start building that chemistry. If Drew Lock is going to be that quarterback, that franchise starter, you have to have him be reliable with his receivers. And then, again, Von Miller on that defense can not sort itself out, but Von Miller is just such a big piece of that defense where I think you can kind of work those pieces out along the way. It's more the offense I'm worried about for the Broncos and their team doctors.
Wasn't even the right team. You're just assuming
team doctors have done nothing wrong.
But Martin Bublik is the right team.
Yeah, but I'm saying that was the Chargers who stabbed Tyrod.
I'm just saying there could be a worldwide doctor clause. They have to stab QBs in the lungs.
Do you think every NFL doctor is just going to protest at once and start stabbing quarterbacks in the lungs?
You never know. Maybe they want to be paid more. That's their strike.
That'll be the new COVID thing. Is like,
if you twisted your ankle, you got to amputate it.
Punctured lung. Tom Brady out fucking 3 days because of his goddamn tomato diet.
What?
All right. Whatever. I'm going to end the show. I hate you. Thank you all for joining us today for Garbage Time. You know where to find us everywhere at Botas Sports, BOTASPORTS. My spelling's getting real good.
That was impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I actually really thought I was going to stumble on that, to be honest. We are live on every platform you could ever want: Spotify, Anchor, Apple Music, Google Podcast, Stitcher. There's more. I don't know. Stitcher's a thing. I don't know. We're on it.
Word.
We have 0. We have a dick's worth of views from Stitcher, so I don't know how it's a website.
It's just team doctors.
We're on it. It's just the team doctor way of like communicating.
Stitcher. Yep.
Oh shit. There we go. Maybe that's why. They're gonna hear this and we're gonna be hunted by NFL team doctors.
How'd you find out?
How did you know?
We're on Stitcher, man. Come on.
We know everything. Stitcher. Fuck, I don't know. That's it. All right. Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you for listening, guys.
There's so much Drew wave there. I just couldn't fucking I was like reading the whole thing.